Hi everyone. I only have a short time, but I really wanted to make a video for this new moon in Virgo. This new moon in Virgo will be early in the morning on Sunday morning at around 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time. No Paco. Paco's back here. He's helping me out. Not really. He actually wants me to throw a stick. But hi Cynthia. So I'm talking about this new moon in Virgo, and I'm going to do a house by house. This is in 17 degrees of Virgo. So you want to know where in your chart, where in your chart this is happening, and to look to 17 degrees of Virgo. Come here, Paco. Come here. Come to me. So, so you want to know where that's happening, but there's a lot of other transits happening as per the usual. And the biggest one that I wanted to talk about is Venus moving into Scorpio. And why I wanted to talk about this is because it's happening a few hours before the new moon. And it's happening early in the morning on Sunday morning. And Venus and Venus and Scorpio is, Venus is how we give and receive love and energy. And it's often what I think of as like the law of attraction and love and money and resources and our heart. And so when we have Venus going into Scorpio, Scorpio is it's like the deep and the kind of like, I think of Pluto energy, which unearths things, and Scorpio is it's like the poison in the scorpion's tail, and it sometimes comes across as a way that doesn't feel always so comfortable or so nice or so quote unquote like beautiful. However, it comes up so that we can grow and learn and change and shift and create that alchemy in our lives. So to me, there's nothing more exciting than Scorpio energy, because I love that transformation that it brings. So you want to know where Scorpio is in your chart, because not only is Venus moving into Scorpio, but we will have a Venus retrograde in, we're really kind of starting this process already as Venus moves into Scorpio, but it's really going to be kicking up at the end of the month and towards October. Venus only goes retrograde every 20 months to 24 months, and so it's really a time where we metaphysically get the surgical upgrade to our heart, okay, and to all the ways that we give and receive. And when this happens in Scorpio, it's not going to necessarily feel comfortable. So you want to know where Scorpio is in your chart. The other reason why I'm bringing this up with the new moon is that we have this new moon sextiling Jupiter in Scorpio, and we've been this whole year, Jupiter has been in Scorpio, and this cycle is ending in November. So it's interesting that we have, you know, just the way that things happen by chance in astrology, that they're not really by chance, because they have meaning, right? So when we have Venus retrograding in Scorpio, and then we have Jupiter in its last few months of Scorpio, it's really showing us the work that needs to be done at the deeper subconscious level to create that expansion in our lives. So there's nothing more exciting and there's nothing more frightening. And so it's a great time to work with me or other healers. It's actually, this is the time to reach out to your spiritual healers, because the Western, the old ways of being are now dropping away, and we really need to reach out to the people that know how to kind of straddle the dimensions and work with these energies on a tangible way to help you create the changes in your life, okay? So that's all happening. We also have a grand earth trine, which is creating ease, foundations, changes to the foundations, but in a way that's it's not necessarily as abrupt as it would be if we didn't have this grand trine, okay? So this grand earth trine is creating that solid footing beneath you to create those changes on the day-to-day, to create the daily practices, to create the rituals that are going to bring the changes to your life and bring the changes to your work. So work is really highlighted right now. And with Virgo, it's also taking care of our day-to-day body, mind, spirit, so that we can show up and be present at work. And so sometimes the most practical thing to do, Virgo style, is to go sit on the ground and meditate, or to go sit on the ground and, you know, do your monthly planning outside. It's still beautiful out here, and just because, you know, kids are in back to school or whatever's happening for you doesn't mean that you can't just get your booty out on the ground and do your planning there. So definitely getting practical, taking care of your body. This might be a good time to start a cleanse or do something that feels really soothing to your body, you start to want to add in the ginger and the warming foods to help with the shift and this change. And Virgo is mutable earth, and mutable earth is shifting and changing in a beautiful way. It's not the holding, it's not the stubbornness that we see with the fixed signs. It's actually the moving energy. And so this is a beautiful time to create change in your life. So not only do we have that grand earth trine lit up, we also have a more stubborn, harder energy, which is this grand cross in the fixed sign. So we have Venus in Scorpio, we have, I gotta remember all my things, Mars in Aquarius, South Node in Aquarius, North Node in Leo, and Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus, whenever Uranus is squared, so this isn't the earth trine that I was talking about, this is a square. Whenever there's a square to Uranus, we typically will see changes to the collective. Uranus is an outer planet. It creates change on the inside, but also on the outside. So definitely, I would be surprised if I didn't see something happening on a global scale or the larger community scale in the news or something. And so just the more you can meditate and hold space for beautiful change for a highest good is going to be helpful to all of us, right? So when we look at the north and the south node being lit up in a square like this is changes to where we're going collectively and where we're going individually, and releasing where we've been, creating changes to where we've been, and then also having the courage, Mars and Aquarius, to do things differently, to really shift our whole thinking, and instead of creating excuses or defenses, really looking at where we want to see the changes and how we can live those changes. So Venus and Scorpio, we have to have the love for self and we have to have the value of ourselves in order to create shift for everyone. So if we're not valuing ourselves, if we're not really valuing the magic that we have to share with the collective, then we're not going to be able to hold space for the collective to shift. Okay, so if we can change our framework and look at it that way, it's going to be much easier to make those changes. And I was going to do a house by house, and I'm running out of time because I have an appointment to get to. Oh no, I better do the house by house. Okay, so if you want to work with me, this is a perfect time to work with me. I do astrological chart readings, I do intuitive healing, and my favorite is to do a combination of the both. It's a month-long or 2-month-long process, and we work together, and it really creates that lasting change and those lasting shifts for you. I also teach online astrology school and online intuitive development, so please click the link in my profile to learn more about it. If you want to donate, if you just feel called, if you feel like I help you and you feel like you want to donate, I'll post the link to my PayPal, and you can donate even if it's just $5. That's awesome and helpful, and shows me some love, shows me some Scorpio Venus love. Lovin', show me the money, right? Scorpio is all about money. And Venus is too. So there's a lot of changes happening there too. Okay, house by house. If you have this new moon happening in your first house, so 17 degrees of Virgo is in your first house. Oh my gosh, I'm just realizing all the things I didn't talk about. So make sure you check out my blog link because there's a lot more that I didn't mention. If you have the new moon happening in your first house, this is changes to your day-to-day routines that are going to support the way that you show up, the way that you identify, the way that you move forward in your life. And sometimes it's the simplest change, like getting a haircut or getting something different or doing something different that's going to help you really see yourself differently and really see yourself and value yourself. So definitely think about some intentions around identity that you might want to shift. And then second house, if you have Venus, no, I'm not talking about Venus. Gosh, sorry guys. New moon in your second house. This is a time for you to really set intention again around the money and around your value and your worth, and not being a martyr around money and your boundaries and your security, okay? Virgo has this tendency to just be of service, be of service, be of service, and we really need to make sure that we're setting intention, Paco, setting intention around valuing ourselves, okay? So if you have the new moon happening in your third house, this is your communication, this is your inner circle, your siblings, your family, your close community. And so you want to create intention around shifting something that's not working in your, something that might not be working in your inner community that needs to shift. Your communication, the way that it's Mercury, it's ruled by Mercury, and also this new moon is ruled by Mercury, and so you might want to create some shifts around that. If you have the new moon happening in your fourth house, 17 degrees of Virgo is in your fourth house. Paco, come on. Then you're really going to want to create some intention setting around holding down the fort, the home, and day-to-day things that you can do to make yourself feel really like not so hard on yourself in the home. Maybe some warmth, maybe you get a wood stove in your house, something like that, that you're going to really want to create intentions around feeling more at home in your home and the day-to-day things that need to happen to make you feel that way. And your foundations, okay? So this whole new moon's about foundations. So 4th house is foundations as well. 5th house, if you have the new moon happening in your 5th house, this is the house of play and creativity. And Virgo being here can make you a little bit like, again, hard on yourself or not as easy to just play and have fun. And so you might want to set intention around what is practical fun, what is practical magic to you, and how can you maybe this is a great, if you have this on your, if your cusp ruler for this house is Virgo, this is a great like cook or chef or someone that can use the details to really creatively create new things in the kitchen. If you have Virgo on your 6th house, this is the natural placement for Virgo, so it's double whammy and it's double Mercury. Paco, come here. So, Paco, come here. Sorry. Paco, come here. Damn it. Paco. So if you have Mercury on your 6th house, this is double whammy, and again, you really want to take care of your body at this new moon. Set intention around your body health, your day-to-day routines and rituals, and this, honestly, you might find that getting a pet like Paco, I'm not getting rid of Paco, but getting a pet can help you really stay grounded and take care of yourself better because you're taking care of a pet, okay? So you might get a new pet, but I'm not recommending that, but you could. And then 7th house, if you have the new moon happening in your 7th house, this is new, fresh energy for relationships, and also looking at where you've maybe been hypercritical of your relationships, looking at where you can let go a little bit more, where you can create partnerships with people or setting intention for co-creation, even if it's in work. So this is a powerful time for you, actually. And so that's a great, whenever I get to the 7th, I'm like, this is a great time to work with me. I don't know why, it just is. So if you have this placement, it's a great time to work with me. 8th house, if you have Virgo in the 8th house, another placement. This is another one where I'm always like, this is another one that'd be a good time to work with me. So if you have Virgo in the 8th house, this is Scorpio's house. I was just talking about Scorpio, the depths and the transformation and the kind of pulling out the poison so they can be purged. And so Virgo can get overthinking. This is actually a placement for really taking care of your mental spaces, your mental health, and your spiritual health. And so meditation, any kinds of things that are going to help you just kind of soothe your nervous system and soothe your health and also your mental health. So this is a great time to just kind of dig deeper into metaphysics and spirituality to get that healing. 9th house, if you have this new moon happening in your 9th house, this is the house of education and learning. This is a great time to study astrology. This is a great time to study intuition. So this is a great time to work with me. And otherwise, you also could study other things, or you might start teaching. So this is a good time to set intention around that and being practical about it, being like really setting the intentions in a practical way. If you have Virgo in the 10th house, you are just someone who is of service. You might be a nurse, you might be someone that works in settings where you're really offering this healing energy, this very Virgo energy. And so it's a great time to set intention about not burning out, about how you can take care of yourself, but also how you can feed yourself through your work. And what are the things that you can do on the daily to really make your work for you. And if you have Virgo in the 11th house, this new moon's happening for you in your 11th house, then you want to look at your friendships and your community, the larger community. Maybe there's something that's you want to offer to the community, and how can you get the support of friends and community in order to offer this thing, or to, maybe you need the healing or support from others. And so it's a great time to reach out, but also set intention around how you want to be seen in community, how you want to be supported by your community. If you have Virgo in the 12th house and this new moon's happening for you in your 12th house, this is the house of spirituality. It's ruled by Neptune, it's ruled by Pisces, and since we have an opposition to Neptune and Pisces, this is another placement to work with me, because this can be a little crazy making. You might be having crazy dreams. You might be really experiencing just a lot of questions in your life. So this is a time to dive into your spiritual health and your spiritual well-being, and getting the teachers and asking for the assistance that you need at this time, and setting intention around, I've prayed and said, like, just please send me the right teachers or send me the right inspiration at this time. So it might be a great time to set intention around that. I hope you guys have a beautiful new moon. If you have any questions, you can post them here in the link, and I will also later on today link to my work with me page. So I will share that later. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Bye.